phone calls are now answered in a timely manner. Most of the time, it's normally answered within less than 5 minutes or more. Thank you.
As Captain Allen said, you already know what we're doing now. I guess we'll go ahead and answer right now. We just reserved the county auditorium for March 20th for a community watch meeting with the citizens of Princeville. We'll be actually announcing that tomorrow to the town. So, surprise, we got the first tip off right there. We're going to work with Southern Terrace. Each side of Neville Street, we're going to break the Princeville down into 3 different areas and give some power back to the citizens to watch their own community. Let them get involved. Like we said earlier, it's involvement. Working together with law enforcement, we can make a difference. Now, Captain, I said, add more staff, get guys in there, it's going to help. But we also have a dedicated detective. Detective Boyd Mackey is the principal investigator. He's assigned to principal's cases. Then he's got the meeting also, so everybody put a name with the face and a phone number. So when you have tips, when you call here, call dispatch, you have a contact, immediate contact every citizen principal will have. Also, like I said, open door policy, anytime, anywhere, we'll be there to help.
Thank you. Just to reiterate, the question was, what will we do to assist Princeville PD with their policing? First thing I would like to do, as a sheriff, is to help find funds to help get Princeville PD back up to snuff. Princeville had an excellent police department, had excellent police officers, and I think they are well worthy of having their own police. And we should do everything we can to help gather money from the state grants, or whatever we need to do to ensure that Princeville has their own. It's nothing like having your own. The sheriff's department does provide a great asset to the smaller communities. However, it's nothing like being able to pick up the phone and call your own police chief, to have him come out and assess your problem, deal with your problem one-on-one, and not have to leave Princeville to run all over the county to handle everybody else's issues. I do think that Princeville is well deserving of that. The elderly and the youth and the others there certainly deserve their own police department. However, in the interim, until such time, then the sheriff's department will fill that void as much as possible by answering those calls and handling those things, those issues that are most critical to the citizens of Princeville. I think it's imperative that we, as deputies and the sheriff's department, we are responsible ultimately for the entire county, regardless. So we need to stand up and fill that void until such time as Princeville is able to accommodate their own.
Thank you. I'm not going to reiterate what they've already said. To the citizens of Princeville, help is on the way. Let me tell you this. That doesn't make any sense for any community to go without police work. Let's call it what it is. My heart hurts when I hear the cries of the people of Princeville. When law enforcement officers, we just sit in one place. When we're over there, I heard the cries. We've got to move around Princeville. If you're just one car, we've got to move around Princeville and show the people that we are here. We're here to protect them. Whether it's one or whether it's five, all communities deserve police protection. Care how you look at it. So whatever deal was made, I'm willing to sit down with the citizens and the board or whoever it is at Princeville, and let's sit down and talk. Because at the end of the day, we've got to handle issues like grown folk. And we've got to sit down and listen to one another. And we've got to be able to resolve issues for the protection of the citizens of Princeville that pay their taxes just like everybody else in the county. Thank you.
How will you impact the Edgecombe County's reentry initiative? How will you impact the Edgecombe County's reentry initiatives?
I appreciate that question. Thank you. I appreciate that question. I was at a meeting about 3:30 today, and my phone rang, and some of the people here was with me in the meeting. And a business owner called me, and they said, and I'm sending this out to you guys because we got a partnership, and you got to know how to talk to people for one. Talking is big. Responding is big. Listening is big. And amongst the meeting where I was out, excuse me, I got to answer this. He said, Clean, I'm sending this out to everybody's in the room. He said, I need 2 people that's ready to go to work right now. So I'm asking all of you, before I leave today, I need 2 people that you gotta know that need some work. A phone call. And what I'm trying to tell you is when you're talking about re-entry, first of all, you can't do re-entry if you hadn't communicated with the business owners to send them somewhere to get the job. So we can talk it all day long. You've got to know how to partnership with CEOs and business owners to know they're legit. They know that you're legit and concerned about putting people back to work. Something comes to mind. We put somebody to work that had a manslaughter charge about 5 years ago. And that business owner came up to me about 2 or 3 years ago. He came up to a lot of us and said, hey man, he's the hardest worker we got. For the people that know better, and you own businesses, we've got to give people a chance. And our race-based community, we got to go, watch it, we got to beg for jobs to give people seconds. I'm not too proud to beg to help somebody put food on their table. So, re-entry, we collaborate with the Department of Social Services. We collaborate with the program that's already in existence. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, you just got to make it stronger. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I don't think that even after all 4 of us answer this, you're going to find a minute's difference in what we all are for, because we are all concerned about citizens of Edgecombe County, and certainly we want to make sure that they have that second chance when that chance becomes available. Project re-entries are all over the state. We have them right here in Edgecombe County where we have the re-entry program. It starts with you. It's a great program that allows offenders, felons to re-enter the workforce, re-enter our society, and become productive citizens. I think we all bear some responsibility in making sure that these people are connected with the right resources in order that they make. This is one of the best resources we are sitting in right now, Edgecombe Community College. This is Edgecombe County. Let's utilize, let's partnership with Edgecombe Community College and our other resources here in the county to make sure that, look, first thing we got to do, we find out people do better when they know better. So when they know better, they learn better, they tend to do much better. We have to make sure they get the education. You'll find a parallel within the prison systems of people doing the crimes or committing crimes, and you evaluate that with their education, you'll find normally it's education, it's lack of knowing what's right, what's wrong, and we as a community have to drive that home that, look, this is our society, we like to have things done a certain way, and we, each one of us individually, should be responsible. Thank you.
I'm tired of saying what it said, you're not going to think about the difference in our answers. It's kind of obvious the programs are there. It starts with you, Carol White there, and the first meeting to out with that. We need to strengthen them. Give them more avenues, give them more contacts, work with the businesses, have a way for these young men and women to get back to society, become a productive member of society. One thing we could do is get these guys trained. We're going to do it again. We get to college, get these guys to counseling classes, get them experience in how to talk and counsel young men and women. I said it earlier, bring them to 2005 and down the road, let them talk to some of my young guys before they follow their paths. That gives them experience, that gives them contacts. So when they go to apply to a job, somebody says, how do they handle stress? Well, let me see. They're former addicts, they've come in, they've talked to current addicts locked in my jail, they can deal with the stress inside the 4 walls of that jail. Then they have experience, we can vouch for them, the society can vouch for them, get them back out to productive members of society.
I won't reiterate what anybody else has said, so I can definitely agree with them. But as it says, it starts with you. With each and every one of you in here. As far as you go about the reentry program, I work along with programs like Kelly Temps, Express. You have people walk up to you sometimes wanting jobs, but can't find a job because people won't give them an opportunity. And then you got some people that can find a job but don't want to work. That's where it starts with us. Because if we can get them off of that road and make them productive citizens, working along with, it may not be a full-time job, but just working along with some of the temp services, tweaking the program that's already existent, we can make a change. But again, I say, it's not about me. And sometimes it is when I say about me, because it's about me helping the county and helping the people make a difference. But we all got to work together to turn this thing around. Thank you.
Our next question is, what initiatives will you have for engaging our youth in the area of crime deterrent gang intervention? What initiatives will you have for engaging our youth in the area of crime deterrent gang intervention?
Thank you. I appreciate that question. What initiatives would I have for our gang and our youth? I'm sorry, that was a question, right? Okay. I need not go back into reiterate gangs and what I think about gangs and what they've done to terrorize our neighborhoods. I think the number one thing we have to do is education. We have to educate each individual. We have to educate not only the individuals who are susceptible to these crimes, we have to educate the parents so that they will, so that the parents will understand how to identify these activities. Lots of times these activities go on right in the parents' house and they are just unaware of what's going on, how their kids are involved in gangs, how they do it. When you find out about it, most of the time it's through something somebody's told you through social media, or the police has arrived at your house and want to tell you how bad your son or daughter has been. Most of the time, that's when you find out. But there are always signs and symbols going on all the time prior to you get to that point. And those are what we need to pick up on. We need to pick up on the intricate signs that when your kids don't like wearing red to school, you need to ask yourself why. If your kids don't like wearing blue to school, you need to question why. And when they leave school, they wear bags away from school, they leave home wearing red and come back home wearing blue or another color. You need to question why. You need to watch for the little small flags and small symbols that are going on right before your eyes to help you. So education is one of the most important things. We got to reach out to not only the parents, not only the individuals that are susceptible to crime, but we got to drive home that we are not, this is unacceptable behavior and we will not tolerate it. And we get our kids out of the game and back in the classroom, doing those things and making them responsible, getting jobs and easy jobs, part-time jobs, 2 to 3, 4 hours, and helping them out as much as possible. Thank you.
Well said. First of all, let me say this. I've never met a bad child, but I've met a lot of bad parents. Been doing gang awareness and gang training for the last 2 years across the state of North Carolina, even in Edgecombe County. What we moved from with gangs, they call themselves groups. And so what you're dealing with in communities, when you isolate children in schools, they form and gravitate to one another, whether it's good or bad. So therefore, when it comes to law enforcement, that's why it's so hard for us to track it, is because we always look for Bloods and Crips and Latin Kings and things like that, these big 4 and 5 letter gangs. But what happens when you push children into a corner, they make up their own groups. And so the next thing you know, you've got 20 of these young people, they form their own groups, so it keeps law enforcement off base. So we've got to understand that phenomenon. But here's where it is. Gang activity don't start at middle school and high school, because by then you're too late. Gang activity starts in the 3rd grade. And so if you don't watch it, what we're producing is from the schoolhouse to the jailhouse. So we've got to get in our elementary schools. Because by then we're trying to target middle schools and high schools, and by then we have missed the mark. We've got to get them early. So I say this to anybody in the building. We just don't need gang training. We need parental training.
All right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, gangs are one of the greatest tools in fighting gangs, and not only just fighting gangs, but uniting the community will be a program that Reverend Joyner at Canita Chapel has called the Community Gospel. It keeps the youth in that community so busy. And I think by the time they come out of that garden in the summertime, they're so tired that they don't have, the only game they have is the game when they're working in that garden. Now, if you have a child in your house, that is your house, not his house or her house. If you don't go in and check that child's room to make sure that that child don't have weapons, don't have different colors in there, and writing stuff that you don't understand. And a lot of times texting stuff that you don't understand. You as a parent, you are obligated to raise that child. If you don't raise them, and now we've gotten to the point that people are carrying their children to the games, to let the games raise them. People, this isn't America when you do things like that. We've got to involve the churches, and once again, we've got to involve the community. And we've got to involve the parents. If the parent don't know, then I think we've got some programs out here that we can tweak and teach the parent. But sometimes the parent don't want to know. And then when you bring it to their attention, I know my son or my daughter did not do that. And then you want to get angry with the teacher. That means sometimes you might need a whole lot of training yourself. But we're going to have to work together. We're going to have to start these community programs in the church. And we're going to have to put everybody to work. Thank you.
Been said again, and I'll repeat it one more time. By the time you get to middle school, it's too late. You need to educate the parents, educate the adults, show them what the problems are, show them how to identify them. Then once you start that, the other part of that is you just do the DARE, the GREAT program. You start teaching kids in the middle school, unfortunately, that's when it starts. And you expand out to all the feeder schools, intervention, stop it. If you have to, you can reinvent that child at some point. You don't have to do it. Be the parent, not the friend. We are not the parents. We are not the friends. We're law enforcement. You call us, raise your kid, we already got problems, ladies and gentlemen. I raised mine too. I raised a couple other church, I raised a couple other families. Don't call us raise your kids. We're here to enforce the laws. We will tell you what to do. We'll show you how to do it. We'll show you what to look for. But to parents, remember, it's your responsibility as an adult in this society to work together to form a bond with your community. If you see little Johnny going down the street doing something, call his mom. Don't ignore it. I think all you probably agree. We grew up, I got whooped by everybody in the neighborhood. You know, like mom and dad, everybody got whooped. That's the problem. We're scared of their hands. We're scared to hurt their feelings. We're scared to take their Xbox away. I can tell you, my son's in this room right now. He'll tell you right quick. I didn't mind him letting Xbox turn electricity on his room. Didn't think twice about it. Flip the switch, cut it, everything off. He's 18 years ago to college. I'll do it, not if I have to. And I can assure if he stands up, I'm going to stand him down.
Guys, when it comes to gangs, I'm really dead to that subject
because I believe in rehabilitation and reforming bad behavior. I see several supervisors in the area here tonight. At the end of the day, this little thing that I got on my hip, I can call you about 15 gang leaders right now around Nash and Edgecombe counties. What I call that is informal leadership. And I encourage all those young men to do something positive because evidently you've got a natural and innate leadership ability, but they're using it the wrong way. So you've got to be a skilled enough law enforcement officer to go in these communities and say, hey, God can use you for something different. And you've got to go through these young men and these young women, by the way, that's tough. You got to use these young men and women and say, hey, how about get him to learn how to read and write? How about getting him to learn how to act right in school? Because they'll do it. You got to go through some of these leaders, and you've got to be skilled enough to sit into a room of our informal leaders in the community. Let's call it what it is, because they got lieutenants and captains and majors. We've got to sit down with them and say, hey, how about stop some of that shooting that you're doing? We've done this. We didn't broadcast it, but they're informal leaders in the community, and we've got to identify who they are. So I say to the law enforcement that are listening, we've got to get out our cars. If you see a group of guys on the block, it ain't always an arrestable moment. It's a teachable moment. So we've got to get out our cars and talk to some of these young people and let them know that we can be friendly, but it's a time too that you can drop the hammer. So we got to identify who our leaders are in the community, okay? Thank you.
Building on that, as we said earlier, the current situation is not the final destination. We can rehabilitate them. Prime example, like you just said, Mr. Braxton, you got to get out of the car and talk to these guys. When I was an ABC officer, The new bring lady story about where they get tagged. I met about 4 or 5 people in the neighborhood, they were leaders. I basically told them, you tag my store, you're not coming back to any liquor store in Edgecombe or Nash County, because I already called Nash County to see, they agreed with me. To my knowledge, the 3 years I was at East Officer, we never got tagged. We make a deal. I told them, you break the law, I'm gonna enforce it. Now that was, like I said, it goes into the rank. There is a rank structure in games. If you don't know what you're fighting, you're not going to win the battle. By August, I believe, by August, we'll have 2 certified expert game officers in the Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office. Get ready, because they're going to be at every school, any church, anywhere you want them to talk, we're going to send them out.
I'd just like to add an additional to the gangs. I'm not going to stand here and tell you, you parents, you ought to be doing this and you ought to be doing that. You ought to be doing one thing, and that's what we ought to be. Our job should be to bring to you those things that we have identified on how to identify these activities going on right in your house. First of all, you can't do anything about it until you understand what is actually going on. And some of us are sitting here right today have little gangbang or little wannabes. So they say if you want to be, you're gonna be. Sooner or later, when you don't pay attention to what your kids are doing, they're doing it before your eyes. And what has happened, they are meshing our average culture, but our culture now with the gang culture, and it's so intertwined that it's hard for you to identify. When they wear a certain shirt for a certain basketball team, you think, oh, they just like their team. But how about that team colors are blue and white, but they are wearing red and orange or some other color? You got to understand this thing. New York Mets may be blue and white in color, but your kids got a camouflage hat on that says New York, just like that. You got to understand why they're doing these things, and understand that no one indicator says that is a gang, that is a gang member or gang. What it is, it tells you that there's a moniker, there's something else to be looked at here, and take that in conjunction with 2 or 3 other series of events, and you can start to see a pattern of behavior. So I'm not saying, parents, you ought to know better. I'm saying, parents, you can learn better. It is our responsibilities as deputies and as chiefs and sheriffs to make sure you understand how to identify this stuff so that you can capture that level, the 3rd grade, before they get to the 3rd grade, so that we don't have to deal with them in the 10th grade and the 12th grade. Thank you.
Our next question, if you become sheriff, what will be the major change or difference we can expect to see? If you become sheriff, what will be the major change or difference we can expect to see?
Make this real quick. When you enter the building as a leader, like I said before, you let your light shine. So when I come into the building, first thing I do when you enter the building, if the grown people don't know, you speak to people. And you make them feel worthwhile, to make them feel like they want to work for you, number one. But to make this real quick, I want to establish some core values: professionalism, accountability, responsibility, integrity, compassion for the people. Because once you know those are established each and every day, even a citizen, if you ask us, what are your core values? And if they can't tell me, somebody need to be calling me on the phone as the sheriff. Because those are things that we need to know. So when you look into the mirror before you go to work every day, you need to understand that you're professional. You need to understand that somebody's going to hold you accountable. And so when those things are not in place, those are big for me. So the first thing I would do walking in the door is make sure we have a set of core values that will ring across the county of Edgecombe. Thank you.
And not to bore you with that, but I can echo those same sentiments. You have to have core values and you have goals and objectives of your organization on how to deal with it. Let me first tell you one thing. After this process is all over, regardless, any one of these guys, I'm going to go home and be comfortable with, including myself. I'll go home. I understand this. I'm not running against anybody, nobody. I am merely in the process to offer my name and my services to a county which has done so much to help me, and which I have dearly kept my word that I would stay here and do the things that I was always taught. You grow up in your county, you leave, go home, go get your education, you come back, you do things to help your county or help your community grow from there. You don't move to Detroit and to Atlanta and all other places. They have their own people. We have ours. So I'll say that, the major changes you will see will be deputies on the street, in the houses, in the community, dealing with people on one-on-one issues that affect them. They'll be basically set up in different districts and or zones throughout, so that you, as the citizen, will get a chance to get to know these deputies and get to know who they are and who you can call upon when there's an issue. There should not be one person in here hating to call the police department or the sheriff's department for fear that their name will be put back in the street amongst the criminal element. That should not occur or ever occur, and we must establish that report so that we will all understand that, look, when I call the sheriff's department, you can bank on they're going to do what I asked them to do, and you can bank on them not putting my name out there for further reprobation or for further people getting back at them. Or, you know how criminals can have a way of getting back at you. You got to make sure these people are protected, especially our elderly. Thank you.
What I would actually do is start a program such as the police academy, or maybe our seniors. That way, we can get this misunderstanding about what the deputies do. The citizens can ride along with the deputies to see exactly what they do. Build a stronger relationship between the community and law enforcement. Get your deputies out of that patrol car every so often. If he sees you in that yard cutting grass, he's going to probably come out there and stop and talk to you, introduce who he is. Because you want to know, again, who's working your area. Who's got your back in case something goes down. Treating people with dignity. Giving them an open voice and doing the encounter. Treating them with respect. And then go a long ways being open, trustworthy. Work on those core values. Work on the training. Because I do know two things for sure that we all going to need one time in a lifetime. And most of the time it normally comes in one sentence. And it is, you're going to need the Lord and you're going to need the law. And the sentence is, oh Lord, have mercy. Somebody call the law. Thank you.
Years I worked this down, that's what I get. Ladies and gentlemen, it's already been said. Integrity, honesty, professionalism, make accountability. If you tell what the rules are going to be in the sheriff's office, you break it, suspension. They should know. Everybody should know this. Now, open doors, transparency. How many have seen the Facebook page? We launched that last week already. We started Facebook, we started social media, we started reaching out that way. Get these guys, then said, out of the cars. I met the school system last week. We'll start initiating when the guys are in the areas. Get out of the car, stop in every school. We got SROs. So, there's another deputy walking around. Let them walk through the school. You got a community meeting at night, my area deputy should be stopping in at least 5 minutes when you open that door. Everything all right? If you need us, give us a call. We'll be here to pick up, close up. What time you need to come over with? If he's not there, call dispatch. We'll have the area car come in and check on you. We need to remember one thing. Everybody talks about law enforcement professionals. We are public service, and some of us have got that. That's what we're here to serve the public.
North Carolina ranks highest in euthanasia rates for companion animals, dogs and cats. What can you do as Sheriff of Edgecombe County to improve the animal control programs? 1, institute a no-kill shelter. 2, create community dog parks. And 3, fully enforce animal abuse laws. North Carolina ranks highest in euthanasia rates for companion animals, dogs and cats. What can you do as Sheriff of Edgecombe County to improve the animal control programs? 1, institute a no-kill shelter. 2, create community dog parks. And 3, fully enforce animal abuse laws.
I'm going to answer your question. County, Matthew, everybody knows Edgecombe County made the news, 180 animals we had. Out of 180, we only have to put 2 down. Not because of 35 homes, not because of anybody cared. They were just too far gone. Now that speaks volumes about our control. So we have 3 of them. 3 officers that's dedicated, committed, only 2 we put down. They didn't want to, they had no choice. The animals were suffering. We already partnered with Friends of Edgecombe County. We have several adoption agencies. Last year, in case you wondered, we didn't advertise. We had a group come in and take every dog, every cat. We had an empty shelter for a week. We have connections in New York City. We have connections in Florida. These 2 main groups come in. We were lucky last year. We were the one who got picked. Emptied the house out. We painted, we remodeled. Now, as far as what can we do in the future? Everybody talks no-kill shelters. Would love to have a no-kill shelter. Would love to. At some point, you have animals you just can't adopt out, either for the way they're raised, the prior medical conditions. It's a liability to put them out. Now, if we have a rescue group that's willing to take them and willing to sign liability, we have a group, we've had dogs leave Edgecombe County, and by the time the sun went down, they're in Michigan. They've been flown, they've been on trains, this group is awesome. We will partner with any group that's a credible agency.
Well, let me be the first to tell you, I'm not an animal expert. I really am not. And when it comes down to dealing with dogs and cats and the domestic type animals, I think it's best left to the experts who better off handle. I think what we should do as a sheriff's department is partnership with those national, local, and state officials who knows how to best handle and how to best deal with these animals when they get to the point that they need to be adopted or reassigned. But one thing for sure, we have to have some mechanisms and control in our communities. We cannot allow animals to just run at large and roam and put fear in people because just because my dog is happy with me doesn't mean he's going to be happy with you. I think we need to gather that information, compile that information, put it together, and come up with a plan on how to best serve the animals in our community and look out for those animals that we can and take those necessary steps to do away with those animals that we can no longer deal with.
Thank you. For those that know me, I'm a big German Shepherd lover. I had to put down my German Shepherd for 14 years, about 4 years ago. So I felt like I lost a son. So I do understand that gift. So I'm totally against, I'm for no-kill shelters. I believe in dog parks. I take my dog out there probably once a week to the Rocky Mountain Dog Park. So we do get it. One of the things that I would like to share with you guys, I'm already in talk with several donors and co-sponsors. And this is just taking Edgecombe County to a new level because it's outside of the budget, perhaps maybe building a new shelter, a bigger shelter. Because these are the kind of things that if it's outside the budget, you got to talk to the people that are willing to donate and co-sponsor and help us out. Because the first thing somebody do is throw budget and money in your face. Well, if we got